How is Iran attacking Israel going to affect my crypto portfolio? That's such a powerful question, an important question. I think Dog with Hat is going to see some big moves. Oil price increased after the attack. Inflation going to be back. Inflation's not left. Inflation's been stuck at 3.5%, sticky. We want to get it down to 2, it's sticky at 3.5, which I believe is not acceptable. Don't cut rates, Jerome Powell. The battle is not won. What do you mean by sticky? It was high. It was like 10, 11%, and they got it down to 3.5. The goal, the idea is 2, but once it got down to 3, the progress going down stopped, stuck at 3. And to that last mile, that last bit is proving to be way harder. The way they fight inflation is by keeping interest rates, the amount you get charged when you take out a loan or take out a mortgage, take out a car loan, and like that, interest rates high. When they keep those high, it fights inflation. But they want to cut those rates to make the economy go boom, you know, to juice things for the election. I mean, Biden's practically demanding it, bro. He keeps saying, we'll get those rates down. And I hope Jerome Powell holds tough. I hope he doesn't do it. Who is Jerome Powell? You may not know his name, but you know how he rolls. He's this guy. Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Money Printer. It's funny. So much of our lives are affected by this man that many people don't even know. This guy's, so much of our lives is affected by the choices this guy makes. It's crazy. I don't know we're voting for him. You don't. That's the crazy part. He's appointed. The president cannot force the Fed to lower rates, though there is a long history going back to even like Arthur Burns of presidents strongly pushing for a rate lowering and then getting it in an election year. Can you elaborate on how raising interest impact inflation? Is it because people don't buy and spend as much? Yes. Yeah, it's supposed to put like a braking effect in the economy. Cool the animal spirits of people taking out debt to buy and speculate on things. For example, if a house costs $1 million and you can't really afford it, but it's really cheap to borrow, okay, you borrow. And then you bid 1.1 million and the prices start to rise. But if it's expensive to borrow, all of a sudden, now you're less likely to take out that loan. Things slow down a bit. It's supposed to put a braking effect on the economy. But everyone loves when rates are low. It juices everything. Stock prices go up. Housing prices go up. That's the whole thing. If they cut rates, how high can inflation be? We don't know. Nobody even knows if it will. But that is my belief. And the heart of hearts is that if they break down and they cut rates, which they'll probably be forced to do. Actually, I know they're going to, they're going to do it this year, bro. They're going to cut rates. Even though we still have sticky inflation and even though unemployment is still nominally low, they're going to cut rates, which is crazy. And when they do it, I think we're going to see a spike in asset prices and we're going to see inflation come roaring back at higher levels. And I feel uncomfortable with that. We need Paul Volcker, the GOAT. Paul Volcker is the GOAT. If you guys don't know who this is, Paul Volcker is this fucking dude, this cigar smoking motherfucker, head of the Federal Reserve way back in the fucking 80s? Am I crazy? 70s? Late 70s? And he brought interest rates up to fucking 20% to stop inflation. He fucking raised them so fucking high. There was people sending him death threats. There was farmers on his fucking lawn. He did actually higher for longer. He crushed the back of inflation. I mean, we had a relatively sound monetary system from that point. It was great. He got so much hate. Everyone tried to stop him because he's not, he doesn't have to respond to the president or anyone. And I think Jerome Powell wants to be that guy, but he's not that guy. Why do people get hate for doing good things or people not? Well, again, it sounds like a good thing after the fact. 20 years later, we can say that was a good thing because inflation got crushed and then we had low inflation. In the time when you're a farmer or whatever, and like the loan on your property is way more expensive and you can't loan to buy a tractor or what, like when everything's so fucking expensive, they get pissed and they don't understand the long-term effects. They're just pissed. It's very hard politically to do things that suck at first and are good later. That is why I am hoping for the success of what Milei is trying to do in Argentina, even though I find the guy to be kind of distasteful, is that it's a classic example of like doing something that is short-term painful that might put the country on a right track with a balanced budget going forward. Usually people can't stomach that. What are your thoughts on Thatcher? Exact opposite. Thatcher and Reagan are the exact opposite, where they do things that are long-term fucking terrible, awful for the average person, destroy the middle class, but are fun in the short term. They do things that are like, oh, let's fucking juice the stock market, juice Wall Street. Let's get those numbers up. Let's get my poll numbers up. Let's cut taxes. Let's not figure out a balanced budget. Let's take on debt. That's Reagan and Thatcher. And they were incredibly popular. It's funny to say because everyone's like shitting on Reagan now. Reagan was incredibly popular and still is among boomers. Reagan was incredibly popular. Crushed his elections. This is the Reagan electoral map in 84. This is Reagan v. Mondale, dude. That's fucking crazy. It's fucking popular to do shit like this, dude. And then 20 years later, when, you know, people realize that, oh man, we cut our government budgets, we broke the backs of unions, we did massive tax cuts to the rich. The inequality's gotten way worse. Mental health care is non-existent. They figured out the problems later. It's a bait and switch. Then he's already old. He's already out of power. That's the fucked gambit. That is the problem. People don't make that association. No, they don't. They don't even. What's funny is like the effects can happen years later. People blame them on the current president. I mean, for example, not that I actually am the opposite of an Obama apologist. I was very disillusioned with Obama's kowtowing to Wall Street. But it was funny if people blamed like the housing crisis on him. It's like Obama inherited the housing crisis 100%. They had to clean it up during his whole fucking presidency. That's not him. That's not on him. Did someone say that Obama reduced the deficit? Am I smoking crack cocaine? I am quite sure that is not true. Yeah, look, this is what I'm talking about. Bro, right here. So this is Obama, 2008. It gets fucking terrible. This is terrible. He cuts it from there back to where it was, and then it gets bad again. The first year budget is the outgoing president, then what's this? What's this? 10, 11? At no point is he even back to where we were before. Obama was not a good thing for the US deficit. No president in our lifetimes since fucking Clinton has even considered having a balanced budget. They've consistently gotten worse. We just haven't had a politician that was serious about it in my lifetime, really. I guess Clinton, but you know, people think about it like it has no effect. Like we can just do it and there'll be no problems. I am absolutely not of that opinion. I am not MMT pilled. I think we are paying the price. I think the price is getting more and more obvious to average working class people. Why do they be like that? It's so simple. It's because people want things from the government. They want stuff, but they don't want to pay for it. And the government is funded by the people. So they want you to give me something, but they don't want you to take something. And so any politician that goes, hey, I'll give you that and I'll cut your taxes. Of course people vote for that because it's like, wait, that sounds great. I want this thing. I want this fucking school built. I want a missile. I want my country to have a big military. I want whatever. And yes, no tax only spend. As long as you're counting the Iraq war as stuff people want, it was popular when they did it. It was popular. It wasn't like 90% of the country was voting against it. Now I'll recognize what a fucking error it was, but post fucking 9/11, people were all fucking gung-ho. People were tearing down the Dixie Chicks, bro. You can't speak about the dangers of the Iraq war. We gotta get them. We have like 3 people in Congress that care about the deficit, but nobody else is in them. True. True, Jensen Huang. This is very true. And one of them, I believe, is, he's got that very punchable face. Even when he's spitting, I'm like, I hate this guy. Josh fucking Hawley. Thank God I found him. This dude. I just hate everything about him except that he has things to say about the deficit that are true. It's like worst guy you know makes great point. I have no confidence that he would follow through on these things, but he is correct on the deficit. And like, I don't like when he is right. Can you explain some of the effects of a high public deficit? Yeah, most immediate is that more and more of our budget every year goes towards paying interest on the debt we've already taken out. So at this point, interest is like as big as what we spend on education. This is just us paying interest on debt we've already taken. Yeah, in 2023, we spent $658 billion. You know, it's like when you take out a credit card loan, you buy fucking Gucci belt on credit, and you're like, damn, I love this Gucci belt. And then later when you're paying the interest payments on that over and over, you're like, damn, this interest payment sucks. That's what we're doing based on all the shit we bought for the wars and the bailouts and all of that in the past that no longer is benefiting us in any way, if it ever did. And so right now, our interest payments are $658 billion a year. That's what we spend a year, and that's predicted to rise so much. Like every year, that's going to get higher. And so that's already a big problem. It's going to pass the military by like 2028. That's a problem, where all of our tax money is just going to pay interest on shit people already bought. That doesn't help anybody new. That doesn't help any young people. That doesn't grow our economy. That doesn't, all it is taking money and lighting it on fire for debt we are taking out. That's a big problem. The second problem is that when the government takes on debt to buy the Gucci belt, AKA the missile or the tank or the bailout or whatever, they borrow it from someone, another country, a bank, you or me, we can buy government debt. Anyone, okay? We take on this debt. We do these IOUs, okay? And sometimes we do a thing called quantitative easing, where we print money and buy that debt ourselves, which is a magical way to avoid printing money into inflation. This is a magical theory that if we just print the money and buy our own debt, it all works out. And I am of the believer that that's not free money. And that worms its way into the economy in the form of inflation, often in asset prices. It doesn't make it to Main Street. You don't see it like inflating the cost of your toilet paper just yet. But you see it in like inflated asset prices in housing and in fucking stocks. That is the effects you see. This constant out of control government spending just leads to widening wealth gaps and less of our government's money being spent productively. Can you imagine if we had 658 billion more a year to spend on like infrastructure, to build trains across the country, to build roads, schools, pay teachers better, do you understand like that? We have been robbed currently and we are robbing the future every time we take out more and more debt. I think it's unconscionable, but nobody wants to do the hard thing and like try to cut spending in the near term to get it back to balance. Not me though, I don't pay taxes based.